So while you're finishing up, I did see on LinkedIn that if you're looking for an internship, Standing Partnership here in town, this agency is looking for an intern. So that might be something to look at.
Who is?
Standing Partnership. It's a PR firm.
Where are they located?
St. Louis, but I couldn't tell you where exactly.
Okay. Is there any way you could send me that info? Is there any way you can send me that information?
I can look it up on.
Or is it in the hub?
Or just look. Are you on LinkedIn at all?
Yeah.
Look up Standing Partnership, and I bet it's there.
Okay. Thank you.
If not, I will see if I can take a screenshot. I was just flipping through this morning.
Yep, I got it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about computers this morning. Computers themselves and software yet to be developed will revolutionize the way we learn. Steve Jobs. So we know that he had a huge part in changing how we learn and how we approach life in general. So what do you think is next? What does your crystal ball say is next? I think you're going to get smaller and smaller until you having your glasses or something. Okay, so Google Glasses, type of idea. Okay. What else? What else does your crystal ball say? VR. More
I
VR.
think cell phones are going to die.
Cell phones are going to die? Okay. I really want
virtual glasses. So like cell phones are going to go away and they're going to make it to where we can literally use it like Google Glasses or Snapchat glasses to actually look at our text messages and everything. And they're voice automated to kind of let us talk to our glasses and let them know what we want to see. Very technical.
What were you saying, Eva?
I want the Tony Stark like flip his like washer and just have it like up here in the middle of nowhere, which is not possible, but I want it.
So you want some Marvel stuff? Yeah. Some people say no thanks, that sounds scary. I'm with you a little bit. So we're gonna try and watch video. It's only a short one. Maybe it will kill Zoom, maybe it will not. I was trying to come up with a way to see it so we didn't. Oh, hold on. Let's stop. Go back a second. Give me more sound. The sound on this one's crap. Sorry, guys.
Fingertip shopping will be one of the many homemakers' conveniences. This video console will be channeled into the store of your choice. There, a camera will scan a display of wares, which she will select by push button. Another part of this console is a household monitor screen, which maintains a watch on critical areas in the house, swimming pool, or yard. What the wife selects on her console will be paid for by the husband at his counterpart console. All bills and transactions will be carried out electronically.
Yep.
A central bank computer will debit the family's account the amount of purchases and credit the department store, for example, informing the family's home computer at the same time. Father, at the touch of a button, receives an instantaneous printed copy of his budget, the amount of taxes he owes, the payments left on the car, and so forth. All documents and household records are available on the video screen for immediate reference. Also at his disposal is an electronic correspondence machine, or a home post office, which allows for instant written communication between individuals anywhere in the world.
Those are some things.
To maintain these and hundreds of complex electronic circuits, a monitor checks all circuits every 2 seconds, inserts a backup circuit if and when trouble develops, and alerts the communal service agency for replacement.
All right, so the clip is 50 years old.
The
husband pays for what the wife picks out. I know that part always, makes us all so excited. So what'd they get right? What'd they get wrong?
Well, then
They
we're-
got the monitoring thing right. They got the printer thing right, but the other stuff, it's the other things. It's hard to say. You know, I don't think they got it right, but there's a few things that they did.
Okay, Eva's got one here in common. This is cool.
You could easily argue that the shopping thing was right, even though it's not like a feed to the store. That's what happened in online shopping.
Okay, so shopping just changed a little bit.
Unless they're close on what like the idea of online banking and like credit cards and debit cards, as well as like I would say email or text. I don't know how advanced it was at that time because they have like electric correspondence. So like
It wasn't really, I mean, you have it starting kind of, but
Yeah.
not, not more than kind of the 4 schools that kind of were
yeah, they're
connected.
getting closer to like how we have it now.
Yeah.
I have a little fun fact that actually has to do with this topic.
Okay,
Did you know that that in the 1960s TV show Star Trek, they had a version kind of like a cell phone, but it wasn't as called a communicator? That may have led to the modern cell phones.
absolutely. There's a whole
You know,
section, we went to the EMP Museum in Seattle, there's a whole section about Star Trek and about how Star Trek TV technologies became reality. So it was really kind of interesting to see. All right, so I'm not gonna make us watch these 2 because we know it's gonna kill Zoom. So we can go back to 200 BC and see the beginnings of ancient analog computers. We've got kind of this complex clockwork mechanism that was kind of created for figuring out calendar and astrological things. So it's not because we have the Industrial Revolution that we have computers. We've been trying to find ways to mechanize and make things easier to figure out for a long time. We jump up to the 1800s. We've got a gentleman named Charles Babbage, who's considered the father of the computer. He creates this thing called the difference engine. It's kind of a big calculator, but kind of a really big calculator. In order to make that calculator work, we have this woman named Ada Lovelace, who's basically the first computer programmer and coins the word artificial intelligence. So, yay, ladies. She is a lady. All right, so we jump up to the 1880s and we start a company that's later going to be known as IBM. So here's where we get to start, kind of the computers as we know them today. We jump up to 1824. We get this punch card calculator. So we jump up to 1942, the first automatic digital computer. It worked, but we still had some issues that we had to deal with. So we jump up to ENIAC in 1946. So if you've ever seen, what is the movie? Turing. Help me out, guys. It's got Benedict Cumberbatch in it.
Imitation Game, right?
Imitation Game, yes. All right, so Imitation Game has a lot to do with these kind of early computers and figuring out how we're going to beat this enigma, beat the coding systems that were part of the war itself. So we get to 1948, and it's the first time we actually have a display attached to our computer, so we can actually see what's going on. So if you look at this fishbowl part right here, that's your display. So you actually get to see, part of what is actually happening behind the scenes. So we've got IBM, it's one of the greatest capitalists in history. They take the computer in a new direction, or take the company and computers in a new direction, really trying to figure out how are we going to make computers part of people's lives? Because before then, it was still pretty weird, pretty different. So we look at IBM and the space race. If you've watched Hidden Figures, you can kind of see the background of
I have. That's good.
it is a good one. How we kind of had to figure out how to make these computers work. How do we talk to them? And if you ever heard the word debug a computer, it's because they literally had to go in and take the moths out of the computer so that they could run, because the moths were attracted to some of those punch cards and some of this paper. Hilarious. So we have the last of the room-sized computers in 1950. So it's not like our server farms or things today where we've got cloud computers, giant, trillions and trillions of terabytes out in the desert. This was one room, one computer. So let's speak of that. That's this one workstation right here, 1955. This was trying to help solve a data fusion problem. It took about an acre of space. It was hot because you had so many electronic and moving parts. You kind of see how much actual, right in here, you kind of see, this is what you actually have to see of all those pieces that were moving in this building. So it all changes when we change to something called a transistor. All of a sudden we went from things about the size of light bulbs to elements the size of pencil erasers. So now you can actually start to make things a lot smaller. And we can start doing things like creating radios that you can carry around, which is a big deal. We take those transistors, add them into circuit boards. So now we have speed and reliability. And now we have cheaper and smaller options, but we're still at 1958. We don't get the Gates and Microsoft until 1975, where we basically begin in a garage, because most computer and .com stuff seems to start in someone's garage.
The stories.
That is the story. So 1975, here is your Apple I. It's sold for $500. Yes, it is wood. It is awful. But Apple.
Why would they make it of wood, though?
They didn't make it out of wood. Well, they didn't have plastic, so wood's your option. Apple was brilliant in their marketing. They partnered with schools right away. They found ways to get those kids to become digitally savvy. So they created kind of that first digital natives. And, when I started computers, second, third grade, you got to sit at one that had yellow letters or green letters or orange letters. That was as much color as you got. So we can look kind of back at the history of Apple, and they really had a big hold on the market for a long time until the PCs came in and kind of business. So it really wasn't until Apple reintroduces itself with the iPods, with the MP3 players, with the cell phones, that they really had this major comeback. So we look at Altair, we look at the opposite, the PC version. So can you imagine sitting at this all day?
It looks like 1980s futurism.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. So technical perspective. Technical, we get computers, we get stories, we can have special effects. And so we look at the parts of the computer themselves. So how did you guys do? Look like you 80-ish or so. What questions tripped you up on the how well do you know computers quiz?
I guess on this.
Okay, some people guessed.
I really got wrong, so I have no idea.
Okay. What did we not know?
What I got wrong?
What you got wrong. Okay, we got that. So the world of computers was very intimidating. One of my clients once upon a time was Gateway Computers. They offered classes for seniors, kind of like digital music and digital photos. And honestly, I had a lady who was sitting I was sitting with my reporter next to me so we could do the story. And the instructor's saying, okay, take your mouse and move it around on the screen. So the lady picks up her mouse and starts riding it around on her monitor.
No.
Yeah, oh no. It was an interesting story.
Was this a live mouse that she did that
No,
to?
it wasn't a live mouse, it was just their computer mouse, but
Good.
kind of the big change in technology and kind of why and how we use things. We have a mouse on our computer today because we have Solitaire and Minesweeper because of the mouse. We had to train people how to drag and drop, how to make it fun in order to learn how to use this new piece of equipment.
My dad, my grandpa was really into that stuff. And they like one of the first ones. They used to have to program their own games.
Yeah.
And then they'd play them. Yeah, I was like, it was the most fun I ever had with my dad.
Yeah, when I first, we would program in DOS, and it was a big deal if you could get your heart to actually turn into a heart.
Yeah.
Because it was like line one, you wanted color from this cell to this cell, and then you wanted color from this cell to this cell. That's what we're doing as second graders. Yeah. So peripherals. Look at how many peripherals we once had to deal with. And today, most Macintosh doesn't even give you a USB anymore. So the world of software is constantly changing. If any of you've taken any Adobe classes, you know it changes every single day. A new update comes out. So we look at things like CGI in the movies. And I would show it, but I know it's going to kill us. So we can go back to CGI. We can go back to 1978, where we first have our James Cameron using some of these, what was the time was really advanced technology in Xenogenesis.
Like watching Jaws.
Yeah, it is awful. It is awful today, but we have to consider it was the first of its kind at the time. We jump up to Terminator 2 in 1991. And
Good movie, by the way.
It is a good movie. But it was really advanced in how they were able to achieve a lot of those effects. So what we take for granted today took a long time. It took a really long time to create Avatar because most of the technology needed to create and render those things didn't exist yet.
My dad worked on that movie.
Did he? Awesome. Avatar 2 may or may not ever come out.
He also worked on that one. And 2 years ago. He was
2 years ago?
So probably not.
So it's kind of interesting to see where we're going to be going forward. Let's see how many you see. Monsters Inc. 2001. First time they're able to figure out how to show fur.
They use grass.
They use grass?
They use grass to answer.
Awesome. That's cool. So, really it takes a big change. Imagine you're spending your entire day trying to figure out how to make fur look like fur.
My dad loses his mind.
Your dad loses his mind. Awesome. I can imagine.
He hates his job even though he loves it.
All right, so let's look at ethically. If society accepts violence, sexism, stereotypes, that content will pervade the digital media. Society always get the media images it deserves. Do you agree?
Yes and no.
Okay. Someone else besides John online, talk to me. Do we say this is okay by not saying it's not okay?
The thing is, the dominant voices are the ones that speak. So white, old, cis, straight men. So their voices are the ones that are out there. People of color, people who are queer, women, they don't get their voices heard. So that's not true unless you're a white straight male.
Okay. So are there really that many white straight males?
No, because society validates them.
They're lower on the population.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't show you a bunch of these. We have history of video games. We have Space War in 1961, where we get to actually fly our little airplane spaceship and try and blow something up. You can still go back and play a bunch of these games. Computer Space, first arcade game, Eventually helps launch Atari. We have the Odyssey, which is the first commercial home video game console in 1972. And Oregon Trail launches in 1971.
What's something crazy? My parents didn't know what this game was. Both of them had no idea. And I was like, I played this in like elementary school. What do you mean you don't know what Oregon Trail is?
Huh. That's interesting because that was like the one we played Oregon Trail, or we could play Lemonade Stand.
Yeah, I didn't know because like there was like this thing of like what old things do like your kids know, and this
Yeah.
was on here. I was like, oh, I know Oregon Trail, and I was like, what do you mean like Oregon Trail? Yeah, it was fun.
Everyone dies of dysentery.
Yeah.
All right, so retail revenue, in the video game industry. Where do you think it is today? Think it's higher? Because of COVID, okay. How about growth of things like esports teams in schools?
Yes, especially here.
Yeah, especially here. They just did really, I think it's League of Legends just did really well.
Yeah, they just won something.
I think they won a national championship or something. Okay. So we've got the ethical perspective, gory and violent games. So do the ratings on games matter?
I don't know. Can you buy games even if they're like rated like a equivalent of R if you're under 18?
You have to be 17 to buy for sure, or rated 10. Yeah.
Well, I think it's-
Does it work?
What do you mean?
Do they actually card people?
Yeah, I was carded like multiple times. Even after I was like 21, I was carded.
I like game stuff.
No, literally at Target. I was buying Call of Duty. They're like, I see right, you like you, freaking 23. What are you talking
Well,
about?
I've seen a lot of issues with like parents not knowing what the game, like the parents, the kids will be like, oh, I love this game, and the parents will buy it for them without researching it beforehand, and it's a rated M game. And
I think the biggest problem with like rated M games and why they're rated M is not necessarily like the gory part, but more of the language that they use.
Okay.
Well, didn't like everyone loved Pants at Freddy's like a few years ago?
Yeah.
And that was like supposed to be like scary.
yeah, it was just like an older kids game, and now it's like there's like children's version of it and everything like that. And the stuff with that is like really dark.
Yeah, some games are a little dark.
I got carded for buying rubber cement at Target.
Rubber cement.
Rubber cement.
Well, you have to be like 18 to buy that.
Yeah, because apparently people sniff it. And so you have to have, yeah, you have to have ID. to buy
Remind
rubber.
me again what being carded means.
Excuse me?
Does remind me again what being carded means? I don't know what it means.
It means you have to produce your ID in order to prove your age.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I got you now.
Okay.
That happens when you buy like paint too.
Yeah, paint. Spray paint I expected.
Yeah, spray paint.
Rubber cement I did not expect.
That's such a specific.
Next is gonna be Sharpie.
Oh, gosh.
Do they still make those like Marks-a-Lot markers that were like really, really stinky and they like make sound when you draw?
Yeah.
They make them, yeah.
Yeah. They like jump as you draw with them. Anyway,
Smell.
yeah, they smell really bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, most expensive video games to produce. We have Cyberpunk 2077.
They had a trans character.
Say what?
They had a trans character, right?
A trans
There
character?
was so
Okay,
much controversy. Yeah, I remember like multiple different things.
okay. So talk to me about it. What do you know about Cyberpunk besides they have a trans character? Online, what do you know?
It's a fun aesthetic.
Okay,
I know absolutely nothing about video games.
okay.
I don't know anything about Cyberpunk, but I know that Red Dead Redemption, first of all, isn't a great game. But the reason that it took so long to produce is because you could play the game over and over and over, and it's going to change every time.
Okay,
Yeah, they were pretty.
It's huge. It's a huge map, and there's endless possibilities.
okay.
And one of the things that one of my favorite games is a little more modern, but it's called Minecraft. I'm pretty sure you've all heard of it, but you can practically do whatever you want in the game. Kind of like Red Dead Redemption.
Okay. So how about sexual themes in video games? How about Mac Playmate? When we first had those types of interfaces, the GUI interfaces come up.
I love that it says panic.
That's true. So where do we draw the line between innovative and pornography? Can we draw a line?
I mean, you could say the same thing about TV. I think that has to do with the rating, and it used to be that video games were so primarily for children, and
Sure.
now it is spanned, I think, more directly to adults with things like streaming and Twitch and all of those things. And I think that, yeah, it's really similar to TV in the fact that you just have to have the warnings.
All right.
I was wondering what I was looking at when I said, or when I showed when I saw those images about like the sexual themes in there.
Sure.
This is appropriate for 2-year-olds.
I mean, on Zen, you can literally have like 1 million sexual partners.
There's,
Yeah,
it's similar.
Themes that I wouldn't think to know.
And they make noises too. It's not like,
Oh, but
like you gotta watch it.
Yeah, but that like bounces around. And they're
Like, yeah, like I'm shocked it's rated too.
yeah,
And there's other things you can do.
yeah.
Okay, clearly I'm not paying enough attention to what my kids are up to. And maybe I don't want to. So, computers are simply machines that reflect the culture that makes them. So once upon a time, we had a whole series of ads for Mac versus PC. We have fear of computers and technology with things like the Matrix.
Terminator and the Matrix goes into that fear.
Excuse me?
The Terminator and the Matrix, both movie series go into that fear. Like there's just different concepts. Like for example, the Terminator deals with it more on a physical level. The Matrix deals more with it on a mental level,
Okay.
and a computer level.
So talk to me about current, something that's been made recently that helps reflect that fear of computers and technology.
The new Terminator.
New Terminator, okay.
I am the director of that, so I can say. I never
What
actually
else?
watched it.
Do we have a fear of of robots taking over the world?
Yeah, there's this movie about AI and it absolutely terrifies me.
What is it?
AI is scary.
Oh, I can't remember what
I'm
it's
not
called. About a
afraid.
girl, and she ends up just going and like basically murdering everybody because she was held as like a prisoner and they're doing experiments on her. And eventually she starts to develop emotions. Was not a fan. Don't like it.
I know one, Black Mirror. Like Black
Okay.
Mirror is a bunch of stuff.
Black Mirror's got some.
I'm not afraid of AI, but I'm kind of a little leery of it after seeing movies like the Terminator and the Matrix, because if AI develops emotions and they develop hostility towards humans, you know what's going to happen next.
Isn't that human's fault if they're like, if they say bully AI and then the AI go crazy, that's all on the humans, not on the AI. So to be a nice person, that should be a problem.
Okay. What were you gonna say, Jordan?
I was gonna say I saw that they, I was on TikTok and there was a video of like a police search of a house or something, and the police dog was a robot.
Huh.
Which is really like weird.
That would be weird.
I don't know how that works.
Why is it sniff?
That's a great question. Not for me though. I don't know.
Is it like an eat when there's drugs around?
I'm gonna look at that.
So I know that Dan Brown's, one of his most recent books, had a whole AI plot. It was really interesting.
Never seen that robot, but I think that's a great thing.
All right, so trends to watch. What do we think is coming up besides AI? Do you think drone delivery of groceries is going to happen?
It already
Possibly.
is happening.
It is already happening. Do you think it's gonna
Yeah,
There's even there was even some instances where there were drones that dropped bombs on different cities. They've been used for warfare.
Absolutely.
Like the little robots on college campuses. Are we counting those as drones, or are we gonna talk about drones?
You tell me.
Because like there's a little robots where they put the food in there and like it goes across campus and like delivers your food and goes back to where it came from.
Say at a hotel that did that once.
Yeah, I know that's how it's true.
They're like just coolers on wheels.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a police dog in New York. It was a 70-pound robotic dog out there with lights, cameras, and artificial intelligence.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Of course it's.
All right. How about data loss? Have you dealt with identity theft? Has anyone you know dealt with identity theft?
Thankfully, no.
But I feel like old people.
My dad did, but it was a weird way. My stepmom was in the hospital, so they were having their mail forwarded. But someone else put a mail forwarding in, so they were getting all my dad's mail. And so all the credit card offers came in. And they just started applying for all these credit cards. So it was really an old school way of stealing someone's identity. But it took a really long time to figure out.
My grandma.
I can't remember if I bought something online or what happened, but one time I was in high school and I got a phone call and they were like, "Hi, somebody from Florida just tried to spend $75 at a gas station." And I said, "Well, that's not me, and I only have $4 in my checking account, so good luck with that."
Yeah.
That's a good way to handle scam calls too, if you got that going on.
If you know what's
Yeah,
going
me being broke is beneficial.
on.
I just don't answer the phone.
Yes, that works too. So computers are magnificent tools. They help us realize our dreams, but no machine can replace the human spark of spirit, compassion, and love and understanding. So as Ego was saying, don't bully the AI.
Those guys survive.
And they're not gonna kill me either. I'm like they're little slaves.
So what is it about computers and visual communication? Why bother?
It's the new visual communication outlet.
It is a new outlet, absolutely.
Most things happen online.
Well, most things happen online. We're going to talk more about the internet itself on Monday. If you didn't notice, I did change you should have gotten a couple of emails probably this morning. I did change our calendar up. So on Wednesday, we'll go ahead and talk about chapters 15 and 16. And you will have finished that really big fat book, which is mostly big and fat because they used really thick paper. It's so thick. Yeah, because when I had the instructor's manual printed out, and it's like 2 books that are like this. I'm like, this is insane. Then you'll have the exam on the 23rd. It is only open till noon, not midnight this time. Then we will on the 28th have the exam review, Biz Common Action. You'll do your final skills assessment, and we will not meet on the 30th. It's too hard to do the visual scavenger hunt in the situation that we're in right now. So you'll finish class a day early. Your Biz Common Actions for TV and computers are due on Monday. How are they coming? Done. Getting there. Online. How are they coming?
We're getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
So, hey, do you need help finding a show? Do you need help finding an idea? You just need to sit down and do it.
I just need to sit.
Yeah, I know what the assignment is. And for anybody that doesn't know what to watch, you guys can go on Netflix and click just shuffle and it'll play something random for you.
That's smart.
That's a good idea.
Ooh, I gotta do that.
Yeah, now you've given people an
I
idea.
just need to sit down and do because I've had assignments from other classes on the with that have big heavy projects, but the Viz Common Action, I've done the TV one, I think, but the other one, yeah, I've had big projects in other classes, so I haven't really been able to sit down and do that one.
I will always tell you to start with what's due tomorrow. Then move to what's due after that. It's the easiest way to manage your time. It's the easiest way to prioritize.
I break up my assignments weekly, so I have everything done if these boards do.
Yeah, that always helps. You know, sometimes we get completely overwhelmed and we have 7 things due tomorrow.
Me, a couple days ago.
Which one's due at 8 a.m.? Start there. Let's do it at 9. It's the easiest way to keep moving forward.
I finished that series I watched for the TV show.
Oh, yeah,
It says we continue, but they canceled it in 2019. But it's also based on a book series, so mine is written book series.
There you go.
There you go.
Summer's coming up.
Yeah.
Summer's coming up. You can start a new book series. Absolutely.
I have a theory and I don't know if it's right or not.
All right. Anything else going on online?
I got my second COVID shot yesterday, so I'm hoping I don't get sick.
I'm hoping you don't
Oh,
get sick
yeah.
too. Ian, are you still at Topgolf?
I am.
My kiddo's going there on Sunday.
I will be there all day Sunday.
If my COVID shot does not knock me out, then I might be there.
Ooh, okay. I got mine Wednesday and it didn't knock me out, so I think you'll be good.
I hope so. I'm really hoping that we're good to go. So definitely take advantage of getting those shots while you can. And otherwise, you're off early today. Go do that BizComm in action, get it done. Have a good one.
My strawberry.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Hope you have a good day.
I have a whole field of strawberries, plants that don't actually make strawberries. I have 0 strawberries. Brianna, do you have a question? I see you're still online. Brianna's actually asleep.